I've seen any evidence that Commissioner De Los Santos is much motivated by money, average, greed. I think from his references, and I find others who are, that they would be squarely within this economic benefit section. But I'm inclined to accept it on that issue. There's no substantial economic interest effect involved. Now, we may reach it on one of the later issues. That would be my observation.
Sir, you see anything you include in the deliberations on 3831? Virginia?
I follow suit Mr. Merrill and Mr. Stapleton. At this time, I do not believe I have heard any evidence today to substantiate an improper economic benefit.
I'll make a second.
So I guess, do we have a motion to that effect that Mr. De Los Santos did not file?
Chair, I would suggest waiting until the end when you move on to the action regarding the entire ethics complaint. So let's move to the next one.
All right.
The next one would be 3835, representation of private interest. A, representation by member of board, commission, or other city body. A city official or employee who is a member of a board, commission, or other city body shall not represent any person, group, or entity. Number one, before that board, commission, body, or number two, unless the board, commission, or body of which the city official or employee is a member is only advisory in nature. Number three, before city staff having responsibility for making recommendations to or taking any action on behalf of that board, commission, or body. Or number four, before a board, commission, or other city body that has appellate jurisdiction over the board, commission, or body of which the city official or employee is a member in any issue related to the officials or employees' duties.
So on the other side of the dais, anything, Mr. Dooney, you'd like to put out on deliberation on this point, a possible violation of 3835?
I do have concerns regarding some of the evidence that we heard with respect to the unsolicited helping draft of an MOU. I do have concerns about the Camille Playhouse, and while the allegation is that he approved a budget and we have evidence to say otherwise, that there was no budget, I still think it blurs the lines of being involved in an audit committee that
Is that your internet, Frankie?
for other committees or for other entities.
Working fine.
And my perspective is sharing that information with as a commissioner with another, with that committee, and being privy to documents that, absent having a unique relationship as a clear boss and employee relation that he may not have otherwise had. So I do share concerns with Review 35 at this time.
Sir?
And I think that that's probably the key to that one is the key to.
Trying to hear right now.
If you've got somebody who is your representative, there's been very hard to control violations along that line. Now, I'm not sure that I'm reading it correctly, but that's the main thing we were discussing is how this is supposed to be read. My concern is that you cannot really separate those words. Try to move from one hat to the other. Discussed it. That's cannot be done, and we're dealing with many cases, lots of revolving door concepts. And this one's different. He's not leaving a unpaid job to go into non-paid jobs, like they would go back into a higher paid job. But the problem is even if it is a altruistic love of theater that has taken him into these things, we have under the terms of what's described here, we still have a representation to other groups. And so
What? Is it?
I think that those types of things have made it loose enough. And we've got some culpable metal standards that have been mentioned. And what did you tell us what those are again? The culpable metal.
Oh, by clear and convincing evidence.
Talk about the
Whether it was intentional or unintentional.
those different standards.
This is the ethics hearing. They're rendering their verdict.
Don't see it.
Sorry, you want me to read all three of them?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm reading out of 38-194B. When referring a matter under subsection A of this section, the Ethics Advisory Commission may recommend the following sanctions. Number 1, letter of notification. When the Ethics Advisory Commission finds that a violation of this chapter was clearly unintentional, or when the action or conduct found to have been a violation of this chapter was performed by the official or employee in reliance on a public written opinion of the city attorney. The second one is letter of admonition. When the Ethics Advisory Commission finds that the violation of this chapter was minor and or may have been unintentional, but where the circumstances call for a more substantial response than a letter of notification. The third is a reprimand. When the Ethics Advisory Commission finds that a violation of this chapter was committed intentionally or through disregard of this chapter. And then number 4 would be removal from office or suspension from office may be recommended when the commission finds that a serious violation of this chapter was committed intentionally or through culpable disregard of this chapter.
My observation of Mr. De Los Santos' discussion of it is that he doesn't try to hide it again. This is it, but then basically he's defending the position as proper policy. And so I don't think there's any way to say that anything is intentional as far as doing that. But I think we may be able to say, well, it's not intentional, but we interpret that section different than you do. And so you guys on the commission, you know, and we're just advisory. You can go vote us down next meeting if you wish, but at least you'll have our concept of what we're doing. And so, you know, I'm inclined to find some type of unintentional admonition or a notice, and allow them to pick around what that section actually means, and to the extent that you can be on more than one board. I mean, the concept is that if you represent 200,000 people on a commission, that you cannot still be involved in that particular board, no matter how lofty the purposes are.
Laura, do you have anything you'd like to include in the deliberation? Merrill?
Would like to say, Commissioner De Los Santos himself pointed out that there had been some claims against him by another commissioner when his chief of staff appeared before the commission on behalf of an organization that
Golansky.
the commissioner emphasized that this person works for the commissioner. My personal opinion is that it's a crying shame that you can't do as much as you'd like to do in the community, especially when it starts to be a situation where the rules are not compatible with being able to do the things that you know want to do in the best of intention. And I've, in contrast to that, I would say that it probably, in my opinion, it is probably inadvisable for a commissioner to get into the position of regularly working with staff in a detailed level, on a one-to-one basis, where there is a recommendation or even a suggestion or even just proffering evidence of something in an innocent way. I think I think we've gotten to the point in Brownsville where that is less acceptable than it used to be. I can guarantee you that history will, if a good researcher will be able to show that any number of commissioners and others have had great influence over individual staff commission in the city. But I think we've gotten to the point in our level of sophistication where it's less acceptable to direct individual staff rather than meet directly with the city manager and try to direct it that way. So with all of that having been said, what I'm saying is, I think that there was not an intentional violation, but there's a gray area there that I think we should note.
I'll just, I'll add my thoughts on this. And I have looked at 3835, representation of a private interest, and in particular, subsection A3, for city staff have a responsibility for making recommendations to or taking action on behalf of a commission or body. And my analysis is as follows: that Mr. De Los Santos was a paid board member of the Committee Foundation. The Committee Foundation and the city of Brownsville, the Committee Cultural District, were engaged in negotiations of a memorandum of understanding. And his attempts to resolve the disconnect would violate 3835A3. It is a difficult, because I think that the resolving the disconnect cleared up some problems, but the resolving of the disconnect implicated problems on Mr. De Los Santos. That it entailed a violation of 3835. It's just my thoughts on it. I've taken everything that was taken out, and I did this, and I'm doing this. I'm struggling with this. Taking everything Mr. De Los Santos says is true. Still cannot get around the fact that he was a paid employee by. There's no financial component 3835. It is just advocacy. And there was he's a compensated board member of the foundation. Whatever benefit they get out of NOU, whatever. But I do
think that there was a possible violation of 3835A. So next one, Mr. Elizondo.
The next one is 38-36, conflicting outside employment. General rule, a city official or employee shall not, 1, solicit, accept, or engage in concurrent outside employment that could reasonably be expected to impair independence of judgment in or faithful performance of official duties, or 2, personally provide services for compensation, directly or indirectly, to a person or organization that is requesting an approval, investigation, or determination from the body or department of which the official or employee is a member. Subsection B is an exception. The restriction in subsection A of this section does not apply to outside employment of a city official if the employment is the official's primary source of income. Subsection C, the general rule stated in subsection A of this section applies in addition to all other rules relating to outside employment of city officials and employees, including requirements for obtaining prior approval of outside employment as applicable. I won't read the last one because it does not apply.
Earlier, anything you like to add?
Commissioner De Los Santos has been able to provide a lot of insight into what has gone on this. Too bad you didn't get that letter, because it probably might have even ameliorated some of your concerns. But it's pretty clear to me that he understands the rules. It's also pretty clear to me that this is a troublesome paragraph here, because if you're dealing regularly at the city employee level on something that is going to be put to the city commission for a vote, there's got to be a way to do it. But right now that's the uncomfortable position for me, is that right now it looks like this is representing, not being able to wear both hats equally and representing one particular organization to the benefit of that organization, not to yourself, but to that organization. Is that making any sense, y'all? Basically, I think it was a step too far to get into that process with the sending over documents and things like that with the theater and with offering up the advice on how to clear the air. It was just a little bit too far into the weeds for my purpose.
That section concerns me. It's titled conflicting outside employment, and I'm employed by receiving an honorarium board member, and I think that's true. The second part is that when they spot the title of the rule, get into that second section, then it seems to fit the situation. If it were a criminal case, I'd be arguing that it was unconstitutional because of that fact. What I get a sense of is that the way that rule applies, that the Sombrero and ESC foundations would not be a violation. The committee would be, just because of the way the language is phrased on. That would be my thought. I think that from the terms of it, it's a violation. But again, I don't see it as an intentional act. I think that the commissioner feels like that he had every right to be on all those other boards.
Nothing was intentional.
He's doing it for a good purpose, and you can defend all of that. And I'm not persuaded that, I know that $14,000 is not insignificant, and I just think that in this case, it's gonna move him. I think there's other motives that are there. And let me also do this, since I think it's going to be last time. I mentioned other motives are there, and it's basically just my discernment based on this, because we have to reach an answer on intentional or notice. So, I think we're required to do that. I will say that I think that city employees, especially commissioners, people on the board, have a higher duty than the general public as far as the way they address other people. And there was some reference by both parties to an earlier hearing. I'm thinking that in many ways that we're allowing too much, or committing from ourselves too much general attack. I kept making reference to the Robert Rules of Order, and it specifically, and I think you're probably under Robert Rules of Order. We can look at it, but it's got other purposes there. I've stayed largely out of technical disability. I've stayed away from social media much, and I know that can get nasty. I've read the stuff, and it comes up in almost every case for wild and nasty accusations. One of the earlier ones we had was somebody was called a Nazi. Clearly was not a member of the Nazi party. Those words should mean something, but what I think the first duty is expressed in this, as far as the commissioners and all the employees, is that they're told by the rules, refraining from attacking a member's motives. When a question is pending, a member can condemn the nature or likely consequences of the proposed measure in strong terms, but he must avoid personalities, and under no circumstances can he attack or question the motives of another member. The measure, not the member, is the subject of debate. If the member disagrees with a statement by another in regard to an event that both witnesses he cannot state in debate the other thinks is false. He might say, I believe there is strong evidence that the member is mistaken. The moment the chair hears such words as fraud, liar, or lie used about a member in debate, he must act immediately and decisively to correct the matter and prevent its repetition. That's talking about members in the process of a debate. I would just suggest that that's not a bad standard for anybody that comes in. That we try to avoid characterizing anybody more globally than who they are at that moment. So I don't know. I'm just saying, and I think it's a higher standard for city people. But I do think that we might want to send back complaints that violate that standard and tell them, please rewrite it. That's beyond what we think we ought to do. So that's my deliberation on the tenor of the debate. I think this was an important issue, and I think that the appearance of impropriety required a development of it. I don't think there's anything substantial when we got to the bottom of it, but I do think it's an important issue. And I think the commissioner is correct that only Freedom of Information Act and this sort of hearing is going to bring things to light. Commissioner is going to survive this hearing. There's no question about it. But maybe some of those other actions shouldn't be survived. And, we're just advisory. They may go in and abolish our board next meeting and fire all of us and change all the repeal 38. Anything is possible along that line. But to the extent that they really want some openness and clarity, I don't think it's going to prove to be a bad vehicle to do that with. And that it's like any other rule, that both help you and hurt you depending on the conduct. I'm thinking we should encourage you guys to keep it. Recognizing that you're the ones who are elected, you're the ones who have the power. But also recognizing that, you get some feedback on what people think would be like. Why do anything on change.
Sir? Good evening. Yeah, I don't see a violation of the. I guess.
I can make a motion if we're ready for that.
If you're ready for the items for individual consideration.
Yeah, I do.
Consideration and action regarding ethics complaint 2022-09-02.
Yeah, I move that we find no intentional act that would be within that, nor either a serious admonishment. I do think we should find a notice violation of, not on 3831. I think we should find no violation on 3831 because of lack of evidence of economic benefit. On 3835 and 3836, I move that we find a notice violation lacking intent based on membership on multiple boards.
Do we have a second to that motion?
To clarify the motion, that would be to make a determination that a violation of this chapter has occurred with respect to 3835 and 3836 and recommend a letter of notification.
That's correct.
Well, I just want to make sure that I'm seconding the motion that I think that what we want to say is what I had tried to say before, which is that there's a gray area there. The way the rules read now, there was a violation. Or there may be sensitive about it. We may be unhappy about it, but there was a violation.
If you would read that notice one again, please, where that describes what the motive is, I think that comes pretty close to Mr. Merrill's gray area.
Oh, sure. This is the, okay, yeah.
38-194B1.
If I can ask to clarify, the motion that is before us, is lumping together 35 and 36, is that right?
Yes.
Grouping them together. But right now, the motion is only to find whether subsection B, 1 through 4 applies. Did I understand that? motion?
I'd take an amendment if you want to consider those separately.
I would prefer that we consider
I'll-
the section separately.
I'll amend the motion, to deal with, which one would you like?
Now, I would propose that we do section by section.
Okay, and in the order they're in.
Correct.
Okay, well, I accept that motion. To 38, 31, I move that we, dismiss the point.
Second?
Just for Robert's Rules of Order, let's drop the motion that was pending and then go back to the one that,
Okay, well,
you and I can both
accepting-
agree to.
Yeah, I'm accepting the amendment of what we would do, vote on. Yeah, that's good. Very happy, I've got the rules right here, so
With the amendment, what is the current motion on the table?
The motion is to dismiss the allegation of a violation of section 38-31A. In other words, find that there was no violation.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's unanimous, there's no violation of 38, 31. Next section, what's the next?
next motion, I move that we find, under B1 letter of notification that there is a violation that was clearly unintentional. And, but that, there is a violation, section 38, 35.
Have a second for that motion?
The representation.
I'll put it up here, Mr. Brown, hold on a second. Yeah, so this was 38, 35. We're talking about A.
So, to be clear, I'm prepared to second, but it would be 38, 35A, subparagraph 3, that is specifically the area of concern. Which was,
There were two sections that were discussed.
Would it not be in its entirety, 38, 35?
Just
So whether it's one or two, we just
Okay.
take it up as a section.
You can be specific in your written order.
Do we have a second? You said a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Nay. Frankie, support? Motion passed.
The third motion that I would have is the finding of notice, clearly unintentional violation of section 3836, which involves in particular the MIDI compensation.
So, I guess, would you clarify the motion for us?
Did you repeat it? I couldn't hear it.
I'm sorry, the 38, that we find a notice violation of Rule 38, 36. Based on, well, we don't need to give the basis now, but Mr. Cardonia has described the basis.
A section general.
Yeah, the section in general.
So could you repeat that motion then, as you have it?
So Okay, so the motion, if I'm correct, Mr. Stapleton, your motion is to find that there was a violation of 38-36 that amounts to a letter of notification because it was clearly unintentional.
Correct.
Second for that motion. Motion is not seconded. Don't know, does it die?
It dies without a second, so that all you need to do is ask for another.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to dismiss the allegation that Mr. De Los Santos violated section 3836.
I'd like to propose a motion that no violation of section 3836. So.
We have a second to that? Second. Second, Mr. Sarkis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
Stapleton is designated as opposed. Very good. Any other pending matters? I don't believe so.
Move to adjourn.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Gardenia, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Thank you.
It is 9:47, meeting has ended.
Well, that was interesting in regards to the process.
How could it be unintentional? Unintentional. He wrote the MOU. It's not like if he accidentally tripped and his hand just started writing and oops, here you go, an MOU.
Look,
Unintentional.
Look, guys, one of the things that I've been and I know I'm supposed to be on the positive side, but one of the things that I've been very, very adamant about, especially with things dealing with a lot of these boards and committees, Frankie, people need to understand the number one problem with the city of Brownsville and the number one issue on my platform is getting rid of all these boards and committees. We're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to get any true justice for anything. Nothing. And my issue is, it's all a show, Frankie. It's just a show. We went through the process. But we had individuals on there. I mean, even a very good friend of mine, Martin Sarkis, went out there and seconded. Didn't do anything wrong. And the question is, was there something that was done that violates, just ethically violates? And the answer is yes. It's yes. And again, it's not a witch hunt. We're just going to agree. But nothing is going to change in the city of Brownsville. While that 1% controls every single board, every single committee out there. It's like going out there and something that John did. Defended Bruziak. Defended John Bruziak at PUB. Is anyone out there tonight? Anyone really think that John Bruziak had nothing to do with the Tenasca deal? Anyone? And I'm going to say there are some people, because we did have individuals out there defending John Bruziak. And that's unfortunate. So, Commissioner Santos, no punishment. No admonition. Just a letter that's going to be written by the ethics committee to say, hey, be careful. Because people are watching. Nothing changes. Everything stays the same. And I think Susan Rubalcaba owes me $2.
Could you get into the his closing statements? What he said? I know you mentioned it earlier. He stated he threw a commissioner and a PUB board member to the bus. Is that correct?
Yes. Part of the verbiage that went on during the closing statement was Nurse Golonsky was out there selling properties to the city of Brownsville. She's the one that should be up on the ethics committee. Sandra Sines worked for Mayor Tony Martinez as his assistant. So it's not unprecedented. If Sines did it, Tony Martinez do it, why can't I do it? What? Tony Martinez stole millions of dollars from us. Lied, cheated, and stole. And that's what came out in the audit report. So is that your figurehead? Is that your model in order to guide you through being a city commissioner? Tony Martinez? And going to follow the lead on what he did? It's not good for Brownsville. But I'm wondering if North Golonsky is going to respond to Commissioner De Los Santos' allegations. My question is a written letter saying you were wrong? Yeah, that's what I said. A letter from the ethics committee saying, bad boy, bad boy. That's what we got. So after 6 hours, guys, of hearing testimony, seeing produced evidence, we got a slap in the wrists. Don't do this again. You should not have done it, but just be careful. It's okay. Because most of everything out there, according to the ethics committee, was done unintentionally. Yeah. A lot of mimosas.
It's very difficult, I guess, to for any commissioners to get reprimanded. You know, the first ethics hearing or complaint against Commissioner De Los Santos was regarding Daniel Molstead, and I attended that one personally, and you know they found no Commissioner De Los Santos, you know, was not culpable in, you know, the allegations that were filed against him. This second one that was filed, in my opinion, was had a little bit more weight, in my opinion, because he did, in fact, and you have always said this, it seems as if Commissioner De Los Santos serves more than one master. He sits on the MIDI Foundation / Cultural District / whatever it is. He sits on the sombrero. He sat at one point in the theater arts where he got a contract for his chief of staff, the now District 1 candidate for commissioner, $40,000. And he's also a city commissioner. So he wears several hats. And while his argument is, hey, you know, what's wrong with this? But again, when he intentionally writes an MOU as a sitting city commissioner, and then he washes his hands by saying, hey, well, I didn't vote in it. But still, you have an indirect or a direct participation in the outcome of what's going to happen. But again, the more these complaints are filed, it seems as if nothing's going to happen. This should not this should not, in my opinion, make us not file these complaints. It should encourage us even more, because the one commissioner that everyone was very hopeful for was Commissioner de los Santos. And I think he's turned it around in a very, very negative light. He goes the defensive route. He goes the homophobic route. He always uses that as saying, oh, you're gay, you're against gays, and that's why you're attacking me. No, it's nothing personal. It's about you as a city commissioner. What he does is he always throws these defense mechanisms.
The gay card.
One of my friends says it. Oh, he tries to talk very eloquently and tries to spin it around. And he's just walking around in circles. I told my friends, he wants to be like an attorney. He wants to sound like an attorney. He's not an attorney. But it's unfortunate that the ethics committee finds no serious violations here, when in fact, he did participate in the writing of the MOU.
It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate because I expected a little bit more. I expected a little bit more from Commissioner Los Santos. I would have rather, Frankie, for Commissioner Santos to say, you know what? All right, guys, I'm going to step down from all these boards and committees and stuff and let other individuals have an opportunity to serve on them. That way I could focus all my energy on District 3. That's what I'd hope, All right, you know what? I can do that. Because anyone in their right mind, Frank, it's like, and look, one of the things that I'm being questioned on is that Erasmo, but you travel a lot. You're still going to be able to do the mayor thing. Guys, you have to understand, being the mayor of the city of Brownsville is a volunteer thing. And individuals need to understand that you have a life outside things that you volunteer for. With that said, I promise not to be on any other boards and committees, because doing my work, having to travel out of town at least once a month, it's going to take up my time suffice. I just don't see myself being on 4, 5, 6 different boards, because when you start to spread yourself out too thin, you actually serve no one. Passed in scripture, nadie puede servir a dos amos. And what happens is the way, and I think this is one of the things that's I think Stapleton tried to mention tonight. Once you're on all these boards and committees, you don't realize which hat you're wearing to the different one. Are you acting as city commissioner, or are you acting as Sombrero Fest individual? Are you acting as the LGBTQIA task force, or are you serving as a Mr. Amigo representative? Which one are you right now? And those lines start to get blurred all over the place. And I think that this is where Commissioner Santos went over the line, especially with the one that you mentioned in regards to the MOU. Because you're taking an active role. Active participation is something that's going to be voted on by the city commission. And you're not on there to abstain yourself from the vote, because it's going to get to the point where you're going to have to abstain from everything, because you're just out there serving in different roles, different capacities. I would have rather, and again, I have no fight with Commissioner Los Santos. I would rather that he had come out before and say, guys, I'm going to resign from every board and committee. I truly believe that would have been the right thing to do, Frankie. Just resign and serve as city commissioner and your job with Spectrum or AT&T. I don't even know anymore. One of the things, and it's kind of weird that all this is happening, Frankie, because the other day I was actually thinking about that. I go like, does Commissioner Santos actually work?
Where do you find time to do all these things, huh?
Has anyone ever verified that Commissioner Santos actually works? Because he must have an awesome employer. Because he's everywhere, Frankie. You know, you go look at the pictures and he's like at this function, at this function, at this function. And I remember being a board member, Frankie. A lot of my functions were limited because I was working for the American Cancer Society. You know, you can't go out there and be at all the events because you work. I worked from 6 to
You're on the
3
clock.
on the clock.
Yeah.
So, Commissioner Santos, do you work? I don't know. I would have preferred that he stepped down from all these boards and committees, return the paycheck to the middies that he gets, and serve as city commissioner.
What this is going to lead to is he se va a aferrar even more. He's going to be like, you see, they found that I was found not guilty essentially. So I could serve on whatever board, I could do whatever, which in reality, instead of learning from this, he's going to take this to a whole nother level and say, yo tengo la razón. Y'all are wrong. Y'all don't know. These people, the ethics committee that are there to oversee and be the oversight of what's going on, they found that A-okay, everything's square.
Unintentional.
So I don't buy it. I encourage the community to keep on filing ethics complaints if you feel that it merits to file. You know, I'm not. We have to be smart about this, but I don't like this one bit. Commissioner de los Santos is gun ho on serving 3 or 4 boards, and we don't know where his allegiance is. He's going to say, "Oh, my allegiance is to the people of Brownsville." But when you're writing MOUs for certain organizations, you know, how can you have that unbiased approach to that? And I think, in all honesty, you can't.
Impossible. It's impossible. And again, Susan Rubalcaba, Erasmo Castro was right. And Susan Rubalcaba owes Erasmo Castro a $2 bill. And I am at that point where I'm tired of being right. I don't want to be right anymore. I really want to be proven wrong. I want to prove that there's actual consequences to the politicos here. There's actual consequences. There are none. And like I told Jerry McHale this morning, no one is going down for this Tanasca thing. No one. John Cowan went out there and said, John Bruzek did a great job. A great job. It's unfortunate. But when you have government investigating government, justice will never be served. Ever. Ever. So it doesn't much matter. This ethics committee was a piece of crap. You know? It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Good evening, Mr. Castro and Frankie. Good evening. Good evening. I wish we could contact Susan and see if she'd be willing to give a statement. That'd be kind of interesting.
Call her.
Just like the Charter Review Committee.
Yeah. She's probably tired though. 6 hours in there.
Hello?
We got you on live.
Huh?
We have you on live.
Oh, because I'm driving.
Oh, it's okay. So I'll call you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
I wouldn't want to talk to either.
Maybe you could have. Maybe you could have her on tomorrow morning.
I'll see. Let me see. My lord, my lord, my lord. Just like the Charter Review Committee, we got nothing.
It's all a show.
It's all a show. Again, folks, nothing is going to change in the city of Brownsville because the number one issue with the city of Brownsville that needs to be addressed is the boards and the committees, Frankie. And I've been saying this for the past 8 years. And in no time during these 8 years have I been proven so right as I was with the Charter Review Committee, PUB, and the Ethics Committee. So it's kind of funny, Like one of the things that John is touting is like, well, I'm chair of the Audit Committee. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Because anything that y'all vote on is going to serve your purpose, your special interest, not the people of Brownsville. City commissioners or any leader representing the city above the law, just like the PUB board. Yes, because Kayla, again, the number one issue in the city of Brownsville, guys, are the boards and the committees. We have to fight. We have to take those seats on the commission. And we need to wipe clean every board and committee out there. Every single one. And I'm hoping, Frankie, that this coming election, we'll have individuals like Susan on there, Kathy on there, Erasmo on there. And in District 1, Nerith Kalonsky on there. And that's 4 individuals that I pray, with the help of Pedro Cárdenas, will commit to wiping clean every single board and committee in the city of Brownsville. So, friends, there's a lot of forums coming up, a lot of opportunities for meet and greets. Ask the candidates, are they willing to shake this ship up and remove all members of all sitting boards and committees, every single one of them out? It's the only way that anything's going to happen in the city of Brownsville. Look, Frankie, we went out there, we posted today the issues at Sports Park. They're dirty as crap. Dirty with crap. They're disgusting. We have to bring back Boys and Girls Club throughout the city of Brownsville. We got to make our Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts here, make them strong. But everything, Frankie, that was geared before for students is like no more. I don't know if you remember, you probably never went because you never were a smart kid in school, Frankie. But back when I was young, I was one of the smartest kids probably in school.
Doubt it.
No, I'm sure. But when I was a freshman, Frankie, I was the top 5%. Top 5%. They used to take us, Frankie, to this place over there. Don't even remember what it's called.
Camp Pembleton, or what's it called? Camp Lulu?
What's the name of that park? It's called over there. I know, but we used to go swimming there, Frankie.
Yeah.
and nature stuff and obstacle course because it was for the kids, to encourage them to go to this camp, Valley Camp or something. Someone know what it's called?
I think it was like Camp Lulu or Camp.
Y'all gonna need it. Well, we're gonna need your more than luck. We're gonna need your vote and you motivating the people to go. But I can't remember the name of it. But does anyone remember that name? So we used to go out there. You know that place doesn't exist anymore, except now that's where they dumped the fertilizer that BISD brought. At that camp, they just dumped it there. Used to have a big old pool. But it seems like all these programs that were to encourage kids to do well, they've shot in the foot, Valley Christian.
No.
Valley something.
I don't remember it to be Valley. I remember it to be Camp Lulu, no?
Camp Lulu. Camp Lulu.
Not Camp Anawana. That's a show.
Valley.
No, it's not Valley.
Something.
The encampment.
Was it the encampment?
I think so. And they would only take like a select few, and it was like a pool. It was like it was fun. Yeah.
You never went. But I went. I think it was in Valley or encampment. I can't remember. BID encampment or something. Anyway, so all these different programs out there, they don't exist. We don't have the Boys and Girls Clubs anymore. Don't have the encampment. Nothing. So we got to work with Parks and Recreational and get things in gear. And Parks and Recreational do a great job out there. They do have, I think, Shannon Guerrero out there. Shannon is a powerhouse, does a great job. And I'm hoping that working together with Shannon and other individuals, we'll be able to bring these programs back to life. But the focus of all these individuals that are in office right now is how to put more money in their pocket. This is why people need to get involved and not just sit back and hope for luck, but boots to the ground. I was at Cathy Pressa's event today, Frankie. Someone didn't arrive at the time that they said they were going to arrive. But let me tell you, it was a good group out there. And I wanted to tell individuals out there, they need to support their candidate. Not just go out there and eat their food. Need to go support the candidate. Need to go out there and make sure that your candidate wins office. And the only way that your candidate is going to be able to do that is if you become an active member, participator in the electoral process. Participate in the electoral process. Pick up her sides. Hold up her signs. Help her out. She's going to need a lot of help.
Do you really think Alonso's going to respond? I honestly don't. I think she's just going to work the campaign harder and then be like, "Poof, here's your candidate."
I don't think she's going to respond. I'd love her to respond.
Yeah, she's not.
So, Commissioner Golonsky, I'm going to try and send you a message to invite you to come on live. We could address these things. Maybe.
She used to come on your show, so maybe.
I was send her. We had a parting of ways at times. Sometimes, the enemy of my enemy is your friend. So we'll see what happens. I hope that she decides to come on. I am going to send an invite to come out next week or something. And maybe if given the opportunity to address these allegations, it's going to be interesting. I did see her today at Cathy Pressa's event, which I thought was very nice of her. Saw William Garza there as well. I think Manuel Trevino was out there as well. A lot of good people out there. So it's going to be an interesting election season. I think those are all the candidates I saw. All right. It's past my bedtime. I'm actually going to go watch John Wick.
Must be nice.
John Wick is awesome.
I need to watch the first three.
You haven't watched the first three? Frankie, there's nothing better in the world.
I'm a Bourne fan.
No, puppy. Bourne no le llega a John Wick, bro.
Really?
No, not a doubt. John
We'll
Wick
see.
is amazing.
We'll see.
So I'm gonna go watch it tonight, and I'll let you know tomorrow, guys. I'll be all dormido tomorrow. I'm supposed to meet up with some old timers at 5:30 in the morning. I'm going to get out of the movie 11, 12, 1, 2, like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm going to go meet with some Whataburger coffee drinkers at 5:30, 6 in the morning with Argelia Miller.
There you go. It's good.
So, going to do it because that's what you do when you're running for office, Frankie. And I'm planning to hit it hard. Guys, have a great evening. We'll talk to Susan later on. And talk to Susan later on. It was the encampment.
The